Hi everyone. Again we are in our next geography class. Then did you read what we studied in the last day? I told you already which you should study what we studied in the each classes. Otherwise you can't catch. Okay. So from a geography we started the fourth chapter. All of you listen to the. We studied first two paragraphs in that day. Which are there? Next we need to study the second part. Listen to the. The climate of India is described as a monsoon type in Asia. This type of climate is found mainly in the south and the southeast. Despite an overall unity in the general pattern, there are perceptible regional variations in climate conditions within the country. Let us take two important elements, temperature and precipitation, and examine how they vary from place to place and season to season. That we studied and we saw. Next, regional variations in temperature and precipitation. We saw about the Rajasthan and Jammu and Kashmir. Okay. And also we studied next paragraph too about the precipitation. How much in India got much precipitation as rain in Meghalaya and didn't get in the Rajasthan. That we studied from that paragraph. And also next paragraph we saw in general coastal areas experience less contrast in temperature conditions. Seasonal contrasts are more in the interior of the country. There is decrease in rainfall generally from east to west in the northern plains. These variations have given rise to variety in lives of people in terms of food they eat, the clothes they wear, and also the kind of houses they live in. Next we need to study climatic controls. What is climatic controls? Listen to the. Climatic controls. Listen to the. There are 6 major controls of the climate of any place. There are latitude, altitude, pressure and wind system, distance from the sea, ocean currents and relief features. These are the things which controls the climate or reduce or increase the climatic patterns. Latitude. What is latitude? Latitude we know the parallel lines on the earth, that is latitude. It is latitudinal lines. It is latitude. With variations in latitude of country, it affects the climate. We can understand the next paragraph. How is that? The next altitude. Altitude means a height. Is the highest altitude is a height from the surface of earth. The next pressure and wind system. Pressure and wind system we you know, from the high pressure to low pressure wind flow. That is the system. That is pressure and wind system. Then distance from the sea. How much distance from the sea, that too affect the climate. Then ocean currents and relief feature. Ocean currents, did you study it from the earlier classes? What is ocean currents? The continuous flow of ocean water is known as ocean currents. That too affect the climate of an area. Then relief features. Relief features, how the land lies. How the land lies. In accordance that structure of land or structure of the what type of land that to affect the climate of India. Then you can understand easily from the next paragraph. Listen to that. Due to the curvature of the earth, the amount of solar energy received varies according to latitude. As a result, air temperature generally decreases from equator towards the poles as one goes from the surface of the earth to high altitude. Then listen to me. How latitude affects the climate of an area. Due to the curvature of the earth. The curvature of the earth means this structure. Earth is this structure. Due to this curvature, due to this curve shape, due to this curvature of the earth, the amount of solar energy received varies according to the latitude. All of you listen to me. Listen. Imagine it is sun. Here, sunlight directly getting the equatorial regions. But towards the poles and other regions, the sunlight getting slanting lines or ചെരിഞ്ഞിട്ടാണ് സൺലൈറ്റ് കിട്ടുന്നത്. സോ ഇക്വേറ്ററിലെ നല്ല ചൂടും ഫ്രം ഹിയർ ടു ഹിയർ ഇറ്റ് വിച്ച് ഡിക്രീസ് ദ ടെമ്പറേച്ചർ ഫ്രം ഇക്വേറ്റർ ടു poles, north pole and south pole, decrease the temperature. That is saying here, due to the curvature of the earth, the amount of solar energy received varies according to latitude. According to latitude means equatorial latitude, there is highest temperature latitude. But in the highest latitude, here north pole and polar regions, in these latitudinal areas, the climate of this area very cold or decreased the temperature there. That is saying in the first latitude affect a climate of an area. We understand. That is saying here, due to the curvature of the earth, the amount of the solar energy received varies or differently according to latitude. As a result, air temperature generally decrease from equator towards the poles. Then as one goes from the surface of the earth, then second one is that altitude. First controls of the climate, that is latitude. Second, altitude. Altitude means height. Okay. Altitude means height. Then what is how is altitude affect a place climate of an area? As one goes from surface of the earth to higher altitude, the atmosphere becomes less dense and temperature decreases. As one go from earth surface to highest place or space, it atmosphere become less dense. That means much of the air, much of the gases existing which are nearest to the earth surface. As one move from here to highest areas, the amount of gases decreased and it become less dense. Air become less dense or atmosphere become less dense and temperature decreases. That is saying here, with the altitude, that affect the climate of an area. Because of the highest altitude, there is less hot, high cold. Did you understand how altitude is affect the climate of an area? For example, Mount Everest or Himalayan highest mountain, that is far from earth's surface. That is 8,800 meters above from the earth's surface. Mount Everest, there is full of snow. We know that. There decreased the temperature and full of snow. So height or altitude of a place is affect the climate of an area. Did you understand? Okay. The next, the hills are therefore cooler during the summer. We know hilly areas, highest areas with a high altitude, When the summers too, there is cooler because of the height. Okay. The next, pressure and wind. Third factor of controls affect climate, pressure and wind. Pressure and wind. The pressure and wind system of an area depend on the latitude and the altitude of the place. Thus, it influences the temperature and rainfall patterns. The pressure and wind system of an area depend on the latitude and altitude of the place. How is that? Thus, it influences the temperature and rainfall pattern. Okay, how pressure and wind system means when the latitude, pressure means highest pressure means air thingi nikkunnadinana highest pressure ennu parayam. Okay, highest pressure il ninnu low pressure ilottu wind flow cheyyunnana air move cheyyunnana wind. Though this pressure and wind system too, listen to me, here is highest pressure, we know, because here is highest latitude and also colder area. We know South Pole and North Pole is a cold areas. Pressure, here is high pressure, we know that. High pressure means colder area, air thingi nikkunna area aanu, tanutha area aanu. High pressure il ninnu low pressure ilottana wind adikka. So from here to here, wind flow cheyyumbo, cold wind from high pressure to low pressure. Low pressure ilotte cold winds adikkumbo, here is low pressure. Low pressure area means കുറച്ചൊരു ഹോട്ട് അനുഭവപ്പെടുന്ന ഏരിയ. ഹൈ പ്രഷർ ഏറ്റവും മുകൾ ഭാഗത്താണ് നോർത്തേൺ പോളിൽ. അവിടെ നിന്ന് ഹൈ പ്രഷറിൽ നിന്ന് ലോ പ്രഷറിലോട്ട് വിൻഡ് അടിക്കുമ്പോൾ തണുത്ത കാറ്റ് അവിടെ എത്തുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ അവിടെ എന്ത് ചെയ്യും, ചൂട് അനുഭവപ്പെടുന്ന ഏരിയാസിൽ ദേ ആർ ഗെറ്റിംഗ് കൂളിംഗ് എഫക്റ്റ്. ദാറ്റ് ഇസ് എ ചേഞ്ചസ് ഇൻ ദ ക്ലൈമറ്റ്. Have you understand? We are studying about the controls of climate or climatic controls, means എങ്ങനെയെല്ലാം ക്ലൈമറ്റിനെ ചേഞ്ച് ആക്കാം എന്നുള്ളത്. സോ പ്രഷർ ആൻഡ് വിൻഡ് സിസ്റ്റം എന്നുള്ളത് ഹൈ പ്രഷറിൽ നിന്ന് ലോ പ്രഷറിലോട്ട് എയർ മൂവ് ചെയ്യുന്നതാണ് വിൻഡ്. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് പ്രഷർ വിൻഡ് സിസ്റ്റം. ബിക്കോസ് ഓഫ് ദ ഹൈ പ്രഷർ ടു ലോ പ്രഷർ ദ വിൻഡ് ഫ്ലോ. ബിക്കോസ് ഓഫ് that effect, the hot areas experiencing cool wind. There is change in the climate. Is it clear? That is saying here, the pressure and wind system of one area depend on the altitude and latitude of the place. Adum latitude and altitude അനുസരിച്ച് difference ഉണ്ട്. That we will study from the next paragraph. Okay. Then this influence the temperature and rainfall pattern. ഈ പ്രഷർ ആൻഡ് വിൻഡ് സിസ്റ്റം കൊണ്ട് ടെമ്പറേച്ചറിലും റെയിൻഫോളിലും മാറ്റം ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്നതാണ് പറയുന്നത്. The next, the sea exerts a moderating influence on climate. We know that we are living here. We are living coastal areas, Kerala. The starting point of India, we know 8 degree for north. Equator is 0. Only 8 difference between the 8 latitude. Equator നിന്നും 8 latitudinal difference നമ്മൾ തമ്മിലുള്ളൂ. ഏകദേശം we are experiencing equatorial climate. Equatorial climate means നല്ല വെയിൽ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നല്ല ചൂട് അനുഭവപ്പെടുന്ന ഏരിയ. But we cannot feel much temperature, much hot. We are getting a milder temperature or milder winter. പാകത്തിലുള്ള ചൂടും തണുപ്പും മാത്രമേ നമ്മൾക്ക് എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ആവുന്നുള്ളൂ. Why? Because we are living in the coastal areas. കടലിൻ്റെ അടുത്താണ് we are living. The coast or ocean can moderate the climate. Sea can moderate the climate. ഓഷ്യന് ക്ലൈമറ്റിനെ പാകത്തിനാക്കാനുള്ള കഴിവുണ്ട്. എപ്പോഴും വിൻഡ് അടിച്ചുകൊണ്ടേയിരിക്കും കടലിൽ നിന്ന്. That is saying here, which the sea exerts a moderating influence on climate. Climate ചൂടാണെങ്കിൽ ചൂട് കുറക്കാനും തണുപ്പാണെങ്കിൽ തണുപ്പ് കുറക്കാനുള്ള ഒരു എഫക്റ്റ് ഉണ്ട് സീക്ക്. As the distance from the sea increases, its moderating influence decreases and people experience extreme weather conditions. As distance from the sea increases, കടലിൽ നിന്നും ഒരുപാട് അകലേക്ക് പോയാൽ ഇൻറ്റീരിയൽ പാർട്ടിലാണ് ഒരു ഏരിയ എന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഇറ്റ്സ് മോഡറേറ്റിംഗ് ഇൻഫ്ലുവൻസ് ഡിക്രീസസ്. കടലിൻ്റെ മോഡറേറ്റിംഗ് ക്ലൈമറ്റിനെ പാകത്തിനാക്കാൻ കഴിയുമെന്നുള്ള ആ ഇൻഫ്ലുവൻസും ഡിക്രീസ്ഡ് ആവുന്നു. And people experience extreme weather conditions. People experience very hot or very cold. We understand? This condition is known as continentality. Very hot during the summer and very cold during the winters. What is continentality? There is a one more question. What is continentality? Continental climate means. What is continental climate? Continental climate means very hot during the summer, very cold during the winter. If we are living from very far from the ocean, if we are living very far from the ocean, we can experience a continental type of climate. Northern part of India experiences continental type of climate because the northern part of India is far from the ocean. There is very hot when the summer and very cold when the winter. But we are experiencing milder climate because we are getting moderating influence from the sea. We are living in the coastal regions. Is it clear? Okay. That is saying here, as the distance from the sea increases, the moderating influence decreases and the people experience extreme weather conditions. This condition is known as continentality. Continentality means, or continental type of climate means, a very cold, very hot during the summers and very cold during the winters. Ocean currents along with the onshore winds affect the climate of the coastal area. Then another factor or fourth factor of control the climate, that is distance from the sea, that we studied. Fifth one, which is the fifth factor, that distance ocean currents. Ocean currents too can affect the climate of an area. How? Ocean currents along with onshore winds affect the climate of coastal areas. That is just like pressure and wind system. We know that ocean currents means continuous flowing of ocean water is known as ocean currents. The ocean currents with here is, we know, ocean areas. From here continuously ocean flowing to these regions. Here we know very cold and here we know very cold area. Okay, from here continuously moving ocean currents to these regions. Then if think that here is one area or South American area. When ocean currents move to here, ocean currents carried cold water from which Antarctican regions. Cold areas il nana ocean currents varunathu. It carrying cold water, very cold water. It reached here very cold water. Because of this cold water, the cold winds flow to here. Cold wind to getting this here, this land area or South America or Antarctica or Australia. ഹൈ കോൾഡ് റീജിയനിൽ നിന്നും വരുന്ന ഓഷ്യൻ കറൻസ് ഏതെങ്കിലും ലാൻഡ് ടച്ച് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ അവിടെ തണുത്ത വിൻഡ് കിട്ടും. ആ ഏരിയസ്, ആ ലാൻഡ് ചിലപ്പോൾ നല്ല ചൂടുള്ള ഏരിയ ആയിരിക്കും, എങ്കിൽ പോലും കോൾഡ് ഓഷ്യൻ കറൻസ് ഉണ്ട്. ദേ ആർ ഗെറ്റിംഗ് കൂളിംഗ് എഫക്റ്റ്. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് സെയിങ് ഹിയർ ഓഷ്യൻ കറൻസ് അലോങ് വിത്ത് ഓൺ ഷോർ വിൻഡ്സ്. ഓൺ ഷോർ മീൻസ് ആ കരയുടെ അടുത്തൂടെ ഒഴുകുമ്പോൾ അഫക്റ്റ് ദ ക്ലൈമറ്റ് ഓഫ് കോസ്റ്റൽ ഏരിയാസ്. ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ, any coastal area with warm or cold currents flowing past it, it will warmed or cooled if the winds are onshore. ഒരു കരയുടെ അടുത്തൂടെ ഓഷ്യൻ കറൻറ്റ്, ചൂട് കറൻ്റ് ആണെങ്കിലും തണുത്ത ഓഷ്യൻ കറൻ്റ് ആണെങ്കിലും എത്തുമ്പോൾ ആ കരയിലോട് ഒന്നുകിൽ കോൾഡ് കറൻസ് ആണെങ്കിൽ കൂളിംഗ് ഫീൽ ചെയ്യുന്നു, ഹോട്ട് കറൻസ് ആണെങ്കിൽ ചൂടും ഫീൽ ചെയ്യുന്നു. So here saying ocean currents too can affect the climate of an area. Is it clear? The next, finally, relief too plays a major role in determining the climate of a place. Then sixth one is that relief feature. Relief too plays a major role in determining the climate of area. High mountains act as barriers of cold or hot winds. They may also cause precipitation if they are high enough and lie in the path of rain-bearing winds. The leeward side mountain remains relatively dry. Relief means how the land lies. എങ്ങനെയാണ് ലാൻഡ് കിടക്കുന്നത് എന്നുള്ളതിൻ്റെ അടിസ്ഥാനത്തിൽ ക്ലൈമറ്റിനെ ചേഞ്ച് ആക്കാം. Relief too plays a major role determining the climate of place or changing the climate of a place. High mountains act as barrier for cold or hot winds. Best example we can see from our northern part of India. All of you listen to me. Just think it is our India. Okay. Here northern area we have Himalaya here. And also we detailedly we studied about the western Ghat and eastern Ghat. Northern side we have highest Himalaya, loftiest Himalayan mountains. Okay, so we are living perfectly here, northern plains and here too. Actually, when the winter, here is Central Asia, Asian continent or Central Asia. When the winter, from Central Asia, it prevents the cold wind from Central Asia to enter India. Himalaya prevent the cold wind from Central Asia during the winters. Because of that we can live here. If there is no Himalaya, we can't live in northern part of India when the winter time. When the winter time from Central Asia flowing very cold wind through the India. Because of the Himalaya, it prevent cold winds from Asia. That is why we cannot we have no much cold when the winter. Is it clear? So that is saying here, relief too plays a major role in determining the climate of a place. High mountains act as barrier for cold or hot winds. And also because of Himalaya we have one more benefit, which rain bearing wind from here enter to India and it prevent the Himalaya to go to the rest of the part of Asian continent. Prevent Himalaya rain bearing wind from southern area and it prevent here and we are getting which a good rainfall. Because the Himalaya prevent the rain bearing wind to enter to Central Asia or to enter to rest of the part of continent. We are experiencing good rainfall when the summer season, because Himalaya prevent the rain bearing wind to enter to another countries from India. Have you understand? So that is why we are experiencing which monsoon type of climate. That is saying here relief too plays an important role determining the climate of place. Okay, then they may also cause precipitation if they are high enough and lie in the path of rain bearing winds. Himalaya prevent rain bearing wind മറ്റുള്ള കൺട്രീസിലോട്ട് പോവാതെ we are getting a good monsoon rainfall. Okay, that is saying here the leeward side of mountain remains relatively dry. Then another example we can see from Western Ghat. The rain bearing wind from here flows to here. And here we know highest Western Ghat. ഈ rain bearing windനെ ഈ Western Ghat prevent ചെയ്യുന്നു and getting highest amount of rainfall western side of Western Ghat. Western Ghatൻ്റെ ഈ സൈഡിൽ നമ്മൾക്കും എല്ലാം നല്ല മഴ എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ആവുന്നു. But Tamil Nadu regions getting all Tamil Nadu regions is leeward side. Tamil Nadu regions മഴയുടെ നിഴൽ മാത്രമേ ഷാഡോ മാത്രമേ കിട്ടുന്നുള്ളൂ. ബിക്കോസ് ഓഫ് വെസ്റ്റേൺ ഗട്ട് പ്രിവെൻറ്റ് ദ റെയിൻ ബിയറിംഗ് വിൻഡ് ഫ്രം ദ അറേബ്യൻ സീ. ആൻഡ് വെസ്റ്റേൺ ഗട്ടിൻ്റെ വെസ്റ്റ് സൈഡിൽ പ്ലെൻറ്റി ഓഫ് റെയിൻഫോൾ കിട്ടുന്നു. എന്നാൽ വെസ്റ്റേൺ ഗട്ടിൻ്റെ വെസ്റ്റ് സൈഡിലോട്ട് ഈ വിൻഡിന് പ്രവേശിക്കാൻ കഴിയുന്നില്ല. അവിടെ റെയിൻ ലീവാർഡ് സൈഡ് മാത്രമായിട്ട് മാറപ്പെടുന്നു. ലീവാർഡ് സൈഡ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ റെയിൻ്റെ നിഴൽ മാത്രം ലഭിക്കുന്ന ഏരിയ. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ബിക്കോസ് ഓഫ് റിലീഫ്. ഇന്ത്യക്ക് വെസ്റ്റേൺ ഗട്ട് ഉണ്ട്, അതുപോലെ മൗണ്ടെയ്ൻസ് ഹിമാലയൻ മൗണ്ടെയ്ൻസ് ഉണ്ട് എന്നുള്ള കാരണത്താൽ അതിൻ്റെ റിലീഫ് എങ്ങനെ ഇരിക്കുന്നു എന്നുള്ളതിൻ്റെ അടിസ്ഥാനത്തിൽ ക്ലൈമറ്റിനെ ചേഞ്ച് ആക്കുന്നു. ഇറ്റ്സ് ഇറ്റ് ക്ലിയർ? ഓക്കെ, ദെൻ വാട്ട് വി സ്റ്റഡി ടുഡേ? Then I told you read well. Okay, minimum you should read 5 times what we studied today. I teach only which is a small topic. What are the climatic controls? What are the climatic controls? Latitude, altitude, pressure and wind system, distance from the sea, ocean currents, relief features. Did you understand what we studied today? If you have any doubt, you can ask to me. Okay? Balance we can take the next day. So you should read that what we studied today. Okay? Thank you.